Namaskar friends, this is NJ, your host on this channel, continuing our series on understanding the different houses and their house lots placement in different houses. In this video, we will try to understand the importance of the 6th house. So friends, as you know that 6th house, 8th house, 12th house comes in the vulnerable category of the Dushtana Bhav. But the good part or the blessing in disguise with the 6th house is that the troubles of the 6th house can still be tackled, because these are among those areas which you could see with your visible naked eyes, which you could understand with your rational mind. Because friends, when we talk about the difficulties of other Dushtana Bhav like 8th house, 12th house, you cannot put your rationality into it, because the nature of problems which comes out of the 8th house, 12th house, they many times tend to be very esoteric, very karmic, very mysterious and very hidden in nature. So 6th house is not always very difficult or always problematic for everyone. Now friends, to understand with the general keywords as represented by the 6th house, so definitely this is the house of the concerns of your health, concerns of diseases, concerns of debts, concerns of enemies and competition. Now friends, like when I say the concerns of debts, so you could work in banking, you could work in any of the financial institution. When I said that this house also represents health, fitness and diseases, so for all those people who are in the medical industry, healthcare industry, they also get the support from the 6th house. And like the way I said that 6th house also represents dealing with enemies and any sort of competitive situation. So all those people who work as a lawyer, who work in any of the law enforcement fields, you will definitely find that their 6th house is going to be in a very accentuated state. And apart from that friends, 6th house also tells about our daily work life, like all those people you deal on daily basis, all those people who are your colleague or who report to you, who work under you, your juniors, your subordinates. So friends, the analysis or scrutinization of the 6th house also tells about the kind of employee and the boss or the employee junior relation you have. Like all those people, you might find that they always have some sort of troubles, some sort of enmity, some sort of jealousy always going around at their professional work front. And it becomes more important for all those people in whose case working in a federal government job is getting qualified, working in a family business is getting qualified, where you cannot change your work setting very frequently. So it becomes very important that in your daily work life, you should get a very supporting, very encouraging, very optimistic environment, because that's a basic human nature that we all can only prosper or grow and flourish in only on a loving environment, supporting environment, encouraging environment. So all of that information can also be extracted from the scrutinization of the 6th house. So these are friends some of the few qualities which you can associate with the 6th house. When we talk about the natural significator or the karaka connected with the 6th house, so the planet Mars and Saturn are connected as the significator with this house. Mars, because this house has definitely to do with the concerns of debts, concerns of dealing with enemies, challenges, competition, and Saturn, because this house has also to do with your professional attitude. When we talk about all those people who possess strong work ethics, who are very service oriented, so definitely you will find either Saturn or 6th house to be well placed in their chart. And friends, if you want to understand the connected divisional chart, so the Trim Samsa chart or the D30 chart is connected as the connected divisional chart with the signification of the 6th house. Friends, you have to understand this thing that any house gains importance if either your natal moon is present over there, or your ascendant lord or your 10th house lord is going to be present over there. Then you cannot evade or escape the challenges or the features of that particular house. You have to deal with the signification of that house. And friends, as you know, nothing gains more importance than your ascendant lord's placement in that particular house. So the positive cases could be, it's very simple. for Libra ascendant natives. So in their case, if their ascendant lord is going to go in the 6th house, so that means it is going to be exalted over there. So that in itself is an indicator that all the Venusian qualities which get represented in the Libra sign in the form of good relationship management, good commercial acumen, business acumen, so all these qualities are going to shine in the life of that particular person, irrespective of their ascendant lord is being placed in the Dushtana Bhav or the 6th house. And if you will take up the vulnerable case, so definitely for someone who has got a Aries ascendant, or someone who has got a Gemini ascendant, or the Sagittarius ascendant, or the Aquarius ascendant, so these are among those people, if in their case their ascendant lord is going to go in the 6th house, they might have to face the challenges of their ascendant lord being present in the 6th house, and they have to start living their life with the essence and with the qualities of their ascendant lord. Like for example, for a Aries ascendant native, if their ascendant lord Mars is going to be present in the 6th house, so that means I have seen all those people who throughout in their life they have faced so much enmity and jealousy in whichsoever environment they are working in. And for a Gemini ascendant native, I have seen if their ascendant lord is going to be present in the 6th house, so these people have faced with the concerns of nervous system problems and anxiety. And like the way I was telling it to you, specifically for the Sagittarius ascendant natives, their ascendant lord being present in the 6th house, that too in the original Kalpurush Kundli's sign, which is Taurus. So I've seen all those people, in their case Sagittarius ascendant lord being in the 6th house, that they have to go through the challenges of the financial concerns, saving money, or someone took their money, did not return that money, concerns with the creditors, and all these concerns and challenges. And lastly friends, if you have to understand for the Aquarius ascendant native, your ascendant lord being present in the 6th house, that means Saturn in itself, which is a significator of fears and responsibility, pressure of responsibilities. So all those people in whose case their ascendant lord is going to be present in the 6th house, being a Aquarius ascendant, they have to go through lot of the concerns of emotional turmoil which they have to face through, whether because of the overwhelming daily work life, daily work conditions, or it could be because of the concerns of their health, fitness, or hidden enemies. So that is something friends which I wanted to tell you as a part of the basic significations represented by the 6th house. But the good part or the blessing in disguise is that just because it is also a Upachya Bhav as well. So Upachya houses in our astrological chart are 3rd house, 6th house, 10th house, and 11th house. So they grow with the time. So if you have your important planets being concentrated in the 6th house, so with the passage of time they can actually grow more mature, more productive, and might start giving you good results as well. Because friends, when we talk about the concerns of the 6th house, so 6th house is the house of your debt. 6th house is the house of your concerns of health. And now as you know that, see, when we talk about the trine house like 5th house, 9th house, here the signification varies in such a line that if you will do lot of religious austerities, it is going to help you prosper, flourish. When we talk about 10th house, the more hard work you will do, the more sincere you will be at your professional front or your professional endeavors, the more success you can get. But when we talk about 6th house, here we do not crave for incentives. These are some of the things which you have to do, and you cannot expect any awards, any appreciation or accolades. Rather, if you will not do the duties attached to the 6th house, you might have to suffer. So health is something, if you are taking care of your health in the form of taking good diet, doing regular exercise, doing yoga, doing meditation, so it is going to keep your health protected. But if you will not give attention in the matters of 6th house, you might have to face the heat. So incentives do not come from the 6th house, but giving attention to the 6th house keeps you active in the game of the life. So okay friends, this is something which I wanted to tell you as a part of the information connected with the 6th house. Now we will try to understand that what kind of concerns, what kind of indications you can expect if you will find your 6th house lord's placement in different houses of your astrological chart. So friends, if you will find your 6th house lord's placement in the first house, so it all comes down to in which condition or in which dignity your 6th house lord is going to be present in the first house, because there are those positive examples as well. For someone being born with a Taurus ascendant or Scorpio ascendant, if your 6th house lord is going to be present in the first house, so that means the planet is present in its own house. And friends, ascendant or any planetary influence on the ascendant just colors or influences your complete persona, your complete personality, your complete life. So like the way we first took up the positive case, so for a Taurus ascendant with Venus being present in the first house, these could be among those people who are going to have very strong relationship management and financial management skill. For someone like a Scorpio ascendant, like in your case, if Mars is going to be present in the first house, so that means your problem solving skills are going to be very fine. Like all those people who become a successful lawyer or successful in the fields of law enforcement, like in your case, you are going to flourish and perform to the best of your capabilities only if being put forth in a very conflicting situation. So now friends, like in general, if you want to understand this placement, so yes, 6th house lord is present in the first house. So it all comes down to whether the planet who is your 6th house lord, if it is present in the first house, has it gone to a enemy sign, friendly sign, it has gone to the sign of exaltation, in which dignity it is going to be present over there. Because let's say for example, in a positive situation, positive case, this could actually make the native very good in any sort of logic, in any sort of problem solving skills. All the 6th house related matters are coming right to you. So that means you cannot evade any sort of conflicts or conflicting situation. Problems, conflicts might by themselves are going to look for you. But if the planet is going to be well placed in the first house, you are going to be very efficient in managing all those difficulties, or you could even shine or could make a livelihood or living out of it as well. Like all those people who become a successful arbitrator, disaster management, crisis management, any sort of counseling, making a career in the medical industry, in the healthcare industry, healthcare fitness industry. So these are among those people who gain because of their 6th house lord's positive influence in their life. Like along with that friends, 6th house also tells about your maternal uncles, your pets. So all these areas of life are definitely going to help the native. Now friends, that was the positive case. But let's say for example, if your 6th house lord is present in the first house and it is afflicted or it is being placed in an enemy sign, so then in those kind of circumstances and situation, you might get overwhelmed because of your daily challenges in your daily work life. Like the way friends, I always give this example. A positive situation and case is that when we see all those people who have a fixed routine, they wake up in the morning, they spend time in the gym, they go for long walks, then they go to work. While coming back, they chill with their friends, or they come back home, they spend time with their family. A very sorted, a very like immaculate life. And there are those people on daily basis, sometimes a car broke down, sometimes this issue happened, sometimes this issue happened. So that means somehow their 6th house is filled with all sort of challenges. So now in those kind of scenarios and circumstances, it also becomes very important how strong are the karakas of the 6th house, which are Saturn, Mars, and for the emotional perspective, how strong is moon in your chart. Because if your 6th house lord is going to be ill afflicted or ill placed in your ascendant, so that means you are getting negatively affected by the challenges, difficulties of the life. And if your Saturn and Mars is not going to be dignified, you might not be able to fight all those problems. And if your moon is going to be weak, it might make you emotionally, mentally strained because of all these kind of problems. Because friends, it is very simple to come quickly to the conclusion by looking at someone that okay, this person is always complaining, this person is always whining, he's like always frustrated. But sometimes you have to look into what exactly is happening in the personal life of that person, which is leading him towards this behavior. So that is something friends which I wanted to say as a part of the 6th house lord's placement in the first house. Moving ahead friends, Now if you will find your sixth house lord's placement in the second house, so friends, if your sixth house lord is going to be present in the second house, it is a little bit challenging or vulnerable placement which needs to be studied with lot of caution and contemplation, because as you know that sixth house challenges are somehow always hover around the concerns of finances, and second house represents your finances, because when we talk about finances we include second house and 11th house, but the liquid cash is second house. Like 11th house has a lot to do with the opportunities, like opportunities are going to come to your life, but it all comes down to your own capabilities, your ongoing dashas, whether you are able to successfully transfer those opportunities into some cash cow business or cash cow financial value. But individually and solely your finances are residing in the second house. So again friends, it all comes down to in which condition or dignity your sixth house lord is going to be present in the second house, because the good part or the only optimistic way of looking at this placement is that for your sixth house lord to be present in the second house, so that means it has gone 9 houses or 9 places ahead of it. So if your sixth house lord is going to be dignified in the second house, so these could be among those people, either their profession, their career could be related to in the fields of finances, in the fields of like all those people who even do money lending business, who are in the healthcare industry, who are in the fitness industry. So these people can thrive, can flourish only if their sixth house lord is going to be dignified or well placed in the second house. But let's say for example, if your sixth house lord is going to be afflicted being present in the second house, and it is also being conjunct with the malefic planets, so in those kind of circumstances and scenarios you have to remain very cautious on the account of your financial dealing, your financial handling. Because friends, like the way I always give this example, like I have complete empathy with all those people who have been dealing with some sort of medical and the healthcare conditions. That's the reason I always say this thing, that many times people do not see the gratefulness in their daily life, because there are those people who no matter how much money they are making, a major portion of their money goes to the doctors, to the hospital in order to pay all those bills. So it all comes down to in which condition your sixth house lord is going to be present in the second house. Its negative or vulnerable side is definitely going to make the native suffer on the account of the concerns of debts, on the accounts of worries, on the account of diseases, and diseases could also be like running for long time in the family, some sort of concerns of heredity diseases and all of that. So that could also make the native suffer in all these kind of areas. But again, like the way I said this thing, the good part with this placement is that if your sixth house lord is going to be dignified in the second house, and individually the karaka, the significator of the sixth house, Mars and Saturn are going to be dignified in the chart, so these could be among those people whose business could be in the credit business, in the money lending business, or all those people who make use of their money, their wealth, in order to do lot of charities and humanitarian and philanthropic work in the society. You can also look at it from that ways. Because friends, let's say for example, for the Capricorn ascendant natives, so for the Capricorn ascendant, Saturn rules your first house, Saturn rules your second house, and your sixth house lord becoming Mercury is well placed in a friend sign in the second house. And second house is all about, for the Capricorn ascendant, filled with the philanthropic humanitarian energies of the Aquarius. So these could be among those people, if they will become successful, so they are definitely going to make use of their wealth in order to do lot of charities at the same time. Moving ahead friends, now if you will find your sixth house lord's placement in the third house, so friends, it all comes down to again in which dignity, in which condition your sixth house lord is going to be present in the third house. If your sixth house lord is dignified in the third house, so like the way you know that in this placement your sixth house lord has gone 10 places ahead of it, so native's communication aspect is definitely going to be very strong, is definitely going to be very formidable. Like all those people, all those political leaders, all those CEOs, all those people in top management position who have got a strong leadership skills and who have got a very competitive spirit, like even when they plan their professional endeavors. All of their maneuvers are always indicating like a warning to their competition, like encouragement to their team, to their juniors, to their subordinates. So kind of a fiery, kind of a very competitive edge in your communication can be foreseen with this kind of placement. Friends, the vulnerable part of this placement is that if your sixth house lord is not going to be well placed in the third house, then in those kind of signification, you should not blindly trust on the matters of your finances to the people in your vicinity. Now this could be your friends, this could be your siblings, this could be people in your neighborhood. So it is more like in your advantage to say someone no on their face, rather than out of the sake of formality giving someone money, and then if that person is not able to pay back the money, and then your relationship is getting suffered because of this kind of alignment. So it is always important that how you manage your financial dealings with the people in your vicinity. But like the way, friends, I already said this thing, if your sixth house lord is going to be strengthened and dignified in the third house, so third house, friends, is the house of our self-initiated efforts. Third house is the house of your courage, of your valor. And the true definition of valor is only when you can tame up your competition, your enemies. There is no success or no good part on running on a race field alone and winning the race. So it comes as a part of the success, or it becomes more praiseworthy when you are running with a bunch of other competitors, and then you are like excelling in that competition. So with this kind of alignment, friends, it is definitely going to make the native very competitive. And like the way, there is a word in Hindi which we say as a Shatru Bal Nashak, which means someone who will be able to tame or who will be able to conquer all of his competition, all of his enemies. Moving ahead, friends, now if you will find your sixth house lord's placement in the fourth house, so it all comes down to in which condition, in which planetary conjunction or planetary aspect your sixth house lord is going to be present in the fourth house. Because friends, the vulnerable aspect of this placement is that because fourth house is an angular house which deals about the concerns of your security, of your stability, of your emotional fulfillment, emotional mental state. So now what is going to happen over here is that if there is going to be any sketchy placement or any kind of shaky placement of your sixth house lord in the fourth house, creating lot of vulnerability, so this could make native always fearful on the account of enemies, on the account of competition, concerns of debts. And like the way I was telling it to you, that fourth house also tells about your basic foundation, your security and the concerns of stability in the life. So now just because there is always one after another challenges are coming in, concerns of debts, concerns of finances, so native might not be able to be secured or be stable in the life. Now this could happen because of any so reason, like for someone who has to always pay back to his debtors. No matter how much money that native is making, he's not able to prosper or flourish in the life only because of the concerns of health, concerns of diseases, concerns of competition, enemies. And friends, with this kind of placement, there could be vulnerability and fears on the account of your own known people as well. Now this could be your maternal uncles, this could be all those people you work or you deal or on daily basis. So this could create lot of vulnerability. The only good part about this placement is that if you will find the individual significator karaka of the sixth house, which are the planets Saturn and Mars, if you will find to be strengthened in the chart, then this could make the native come out very strong, very ferocious with all the early experiences, all the early struggles of the life. Now this could make the native make his career in any of those professions of healing people, consulting people, working in the fields of NGO. So native might turn his wounds into wisdom. So from all of those perspectives, this placement can be seen as a good sign. But yes, friends, all the living signification of the fourth house, which primarily comes out to be your mother first. So native might have a difficult, very emotionally ups and downs in native's relationship with the mother could also be foreseen with this placement of the sixth house lord in the 4th house. I would always say with this kind of alignment that if you will find your 6th house lord to be badly afflicted in the 4th house, so specifically at the time of buying a house or going for a home loan or any of the concerns of mortgage, it would be more advisable for you to do all those loans, all those sign up on the name of your partner or of your children, because that is going to be more fruitful and more prosperous for you. Moving ahead friends, if you will find your 6th house lord's placement in the 5th house, so friends, you have to give attention to in which condition your 6th house lord is going to be present in the 5th house, because in this kind of alignment your 6th house lord has gone 12 places ahead of it. So friends, this could work for your advantage as well, like someone who has got a Virgo ascendant. In his case, Saturn is the ruler of both the 5th house and the 6th house, but the vulnerable cases of a Taurus ascendant native, in his case his 6th house lord, the planet Venus, is going to be debilitated in the 5th house. So it all comes down to in which condition, in which dignity your 6th house lord is going to be present in the 5th house, because friends, somehow, because 5th house has to do with the concerns of the past life as well. So whatsoever problems or troubles native might be going through, the roots or the source of that might be connected with the nature of deeds done by the native in the past life. And friends, as you know that 5th house also tells about the concerns of progeny. So I would highly recommend with this kind of alignment that raise your children in a very positive, in a very encouraging, in a very loving environment. If you're going to give your children a very hateful environment right from their upbringing or their growing up days, so definitely that is going to stir up or going to create a snowball effect, where on a latter half you might have a very bitter or very troubled relationship with your children. So it all comes down to the nature of parenting which you are going to offer or give to your children. And apart from that friends, see, 5th house tells about art and creativity. So definitely if someone in whose chart 6th house lord is going to be present in the 5th house, even in the art and creativity, native might take and make his own life experience, all of his pain, and turn it into a art magnum opus. And with this kind of placement friends, as 5th house tells about your decision making power, your consulting power, 5th house tells about your intellect, your mind. So with your 6th house lord's placement in the 5th house, and if it is going to be in a benefic aspect conjunction, so this could give native a very strong logical skills, problem solving skills, strong arbitration skills, and native could also use these skills in his profession and could flourish or success in any sort of professional professional field as well. So from that aspect, this placement can still be seen as a blessing in disguise. And friends, 5th house also has to do with the devotion, with all sort of your bhakti, your devotion towards your Ish Devta. So I would say, if you actually want to get the best out of any sort of problems, any sort of challenges which you might be going in the life, so best is to take the form and the path of devotion to whatsoever religion you belong to. With this kind of alignments, I would strictly recommend to refrain from any sort of uncalculative investments or involvement in speculation, gambling, casinos, because with this kind of placement, one day if your luck is going to run out, it could give you very heavy debts or heavy loans as well. So on any sort of speculative nature of work, you have to be very contemplative, you have to be very careful. Moving ahead friends, now if you will find your 6th house lord's placement in the 6th house, so this could be seen as one of the very good combination, because like the way you know that whenever a house lord is present in the same house, it is going to protect the signification of that house. And 6th house is a very important house. This house tells about how disciplined you are in life, how much attention you give to your health, to your fitness, what is the kind of relationship with you have with the people in your daily work life, and your professional work ethics, and your competitive spirit. So all these qualities are definitely going to shine out in the personality of the native. And friends, it all comes down to the nature of the planet which is being present in the 6th house itself. So for Mars, it's about energy. It's about outwardly energy. For Mercury, it's about discriminatory intelligence. For Jupiter, it's about righteousness. It's about faith. It's about wisdom. It's about knowledge. With Venus, it's about your relationship management skills. With Saturn, it all comes down to your own endurance, your patience, your discipline, your visionary, mature qualities. So it all comes down to what is the nature of planet which is present in the sixth house in its own sign, but this is actually creating some very good energy which is going to help native in any sort of competitive area of the life. Moving ahead, friends, now if you will find your sixth house lord's placement in the seventh house, so friends, it is a little bit vulnerable placement because sixth house is all about challenges, about conflicting energies of health vulnerability, concerns of debts. And if this house's energies is coming to the house of your matrimonial life, your business, commercial activities, so it is definitely going to create some vulnerability. So it all comes down to what is the nature of your sixth house lord planet and which condition and dignity it is going to be present over here. So you have to start doing remedies and you have to live with the essence of your sixth house lord in order to tame those energies and work in your favor. Like friends, because seventh house tells about your partner, so I will not be surprised to get to know this thing that you might be in a relationship where half of the life you have to take care of your partner because your partner has some health related concerns or some sort of debts which got incurred only because of the wrong decision making of your partner. So it could make someone vulnerable in all these areas of life. So friends, the only good part about this placement is that, like the way you know this thing, that for someone like a Leo ascendant native, so in your case Saturn not only rules the sixth house but Saturn also rules the seventh house as well. And if Saturn is going to be present in the seventh house, so trust me, whatsoever your dreams and your aspirations in life are, your partner is definitely going to fulfill them, and the kind of the security and stability you crave for, you might get that because of the strong judgment, strong visionary qualities of your partner. So it all comes down to in which dignity your sixth house lord is going to be present in the seventh house. But friends, trust me, this is a very extreme placement in this regard, that either on one extreme end your partner is going to be responsible for all the troubles, all the miseries of your life, or this could be the case that you are only going to find the solution by taking refuge in the strong willpower, fighting spirit, judgment qualities and management qualities of your partner. So it all comes down to what is the nature of your sixth house lord, in which planetary conjunction, in which planetary aspect it is going to be present in the seventh house. And friends, like the way I always say this thing, that see, 10th house tells about your nature of activities, 7th house tells about your approach and way to look at the world. So if you will find 6th house lord to be afflicted and in a troubled state in the 7th house, and along with that the natives individually, his moon is also afflicted in the chart, so then it could give the native very narrowed, very quarrelsome, very pessimistic approach towards looking at the world. So it all comes down to what is the nature of the planet which is going to be present in your 7th house. Because let's say, for example, for someone who has a Leo ascendant, so in his case, if Saturn is, just because it is well placed in the 7th house, it might give native a very humanitarian or philanthropic way of looking at and empathizing with people's problem and miseries in the life. Moving ahead, friends, now if you will find your 6th house lord's placement in the 8th house, so that can be seen as a Viparit Raj Yoga or a kingly combination, which is going to function in this way that no matter how much troubles or obstacles are coming in your life, you will end up gaining from all of those difficulties. Now with this kind of alignment, you can become a successful person in the fields of law, in any sort of law enforcement. When we talk about becoming a surgeon, working in the secret services, crisis management, disaster management, working as a psychologist, so this placement can help you succeed in all these areas of life. Friends, the vulnerable part of this placement is that as 8th house has a lot to do with the secrecy and 6th house has to deal with the challenges, with the enemies, so the problems and the enmity and the concerns of jealousy might trouble the native. So it all comes down to in which condition your 6th house lord is going to be present in the 8th house. And also friends, with this kind of alignment, what is the condition of the native's natal moon, individually the condition of the Jupiter and the 9th house lord, because that is going to give this indication about the kind of morals, the kind of ethics and integrity native possess. Because as you know that whichsoever planet goes in the 8th house, there has to be strong discipline over there, there has to be strong faith over there, because the 8th house energy are definitely going to create the vulnerability of all the indulgences, all the temptations of the life. But at the same time, 8th house is also the house of samadhi. 8th house is also the house of devotion and intensity. So 8th house is something which makes someone love very deeply, very greatly, and hate very bitterly. So it all comes down to in which condition your 6th house lord is going to be present in the 8th house, and individually the morals of the native, because that is going to give this idea how native is going to utilize this alignment. But the good part about this placement is that any of the religious austerities, any sort of like the esoteric remedies which we always keep on hearing on astrology and all these Vedic astrologers advising different remedies, so any totka, any remedy done by native in order to deal with the challenges of the 6th house can actually work in the favor of the native. Moving ahead friends, now if you will find your 6th house lord's placement in the 9th house, so that can be seen as a very fortunate placement, because friends, as you know this thing that the beauty and the glory of the 9th house is that no matter what is the nature of the problem of the native, the solution to that problem can be found out with ease, with grace and with devotion. Friends, the good part about this placement is that no matter in which way the 6th house is working in the life of the native, no matter how much native is overwhelmed, overburdened with the darkness, with the difficulties of the life, because his 6th house lord has gone to the 9th house, that means even in those darkest of the hours, the ray of hope, ray of light is still going to be on in the life of the native. And friends, the good part about this placement is that I have also seen all those kind of people who completely surrender themselves to the god, to the divinity. Like even I have seen so many people from India, like at the time when I was working in India, like before starting their day, on their seat, on their their office desk, they will keep the holy pictures or divine statue of their Ishta Devta, their preferred gods, and before starting their day at office, they will completely surrender themselves to the god, they will completely surrender themselves to the will of the god. So that kind of devotion while doing your duties can be foreseen with this kind of placement. This placement can also be seen as good in order to have a career in the law field. Like whatsoever nature of your work is going to be, with this kind of alignment, the good part here is that you have this capability to become a source of inspiration for other people. So let's say for example, if you are going to be good and very skilled in your nature of work, in your nature of job, so your juniors, your subordinates might see you as an inspiration or might look up to you. So that kind of growth potential, that kind of integrity in the nature of work, in the work ethics can be foreseen with this kind of placement. And along with that friends, like just because your 6th house lord has gone to the 9th house, so a lot of foreign travels as a part of your, or as a part of the perk of your job responsibilities can also be foreseen with this kind of placement. This placement is very blessed and a blessing in disguise. It all comes down to whether you are actually devoted to the higher powers, to the higher dimension, to the gods, because no matter whatsoever troubles are going to be coming in your life, the good part with this placement is that the solution can also be found in those situation of turmoils because of your 6th house lord's placement in the 9th house. Moving ahead friends, now if you will find your 6th house lord's placement in the 10th house, So that can be seen as a very good placement in this regard, that your 6th house lord has gone 5 places ahead of it. Both of these 6th houses and the 10th house, they both are the Artha house, they both are the Upachya house. So that means in your professional life, in your nature of deeds, and while doing your duties, you will exude the qualities of this 6th house as well, which is all about being competitive, being very forceful, demonstrating strong leadership qualities. So all that can be foreseen only if you will find your 6th house lord to be in a dignified state in the 10th house. And friends, this could be seen as a good combination for having a career in the fields of law, in the medical field. And the good part over here is that even if you will not become a arbitrator or a lawyer, in your daily work life, if there is going to be any of the dispute or fights between the colleagues, they might come to you for arbitration. So it means that your problem solving skills are definitely going to be very fine, are definitely going to be very praiseworthy. And friends, let's say for example in the negative case, you will see that your 6th house lord is losing its strength, being present in the 10th house, or it is conjunct in a very malefic planetary alignment. Then in those kind of scenarios, Native's professional life might be filled with all sort of challenges, all sort of competition, all sort of enmity, because friends, it all comes down to the dignity of the 6th house lord. That is very simple. If 6th house lord is in a dignified state, you will command over your enemies. If you will find your 6th house lord to be losing strength, so that means your enemies are going to overpower you or overwhelm you. So it all comes down to individually studying this alignment and looking at the significator or karaka of the 6th house, which are the planet Saturn and the planet Mars. Moving ahead friends, now if you will find your 6th house lord's placement in the 11th house, so friends, as you know this thing that first of all, both of these houses are the Upachya house, which means they grow with the passage of time. The second thing is that if you will use the concept of Bhavad Bhavam from the 6th house, you have to go 6 places ahead to reach the 11th house. So that means 11th house holds this potential to fulfill highest of your aspiration, give you side income, lot many opportunities. But just because your 6th house lord is also going to be present in the 11th house, so that means your path to glory might have to go through facing lot of criticism, obstacles, and demonstrating strong a competitive spirit. And friends, like for example in certain alignments, like for Leo ascendant natives, in his case Saturn is going to be the ruler of the 6th house, and if it is present in the 11th house, it is well placed in a friendly sign. So it all comes down to what is the nature of your 6th house lord planet. But this placement in itself tells about that you are going to demonstrate lot of fighting spirit, or that could be expected out of you in order to fulfill your highest of the dharma or fulfill highest of your wishes in this lifetime. And friends, with this kind of alignment, it becomes very important that what is the kind of the condition and in which dignity your 6th house lord is going to be present in the 11th house. Because like the way I always say this thing, that whatsoever happened from the 11th house, that happens only after becoming a part of the collective, becoming a part of the groups, becoming a part of the society, where your friends and people also play a very important role in your success. So let's say for example, if your 6th house lord is going to be losing its strength in the 11th house, or it is going to be present in a malefic alignment, so rather than other people coming to your aid, helping you, encouraging you, they might start creating obstacles in your path to success. You might have to go through a lot of concerns of jealousy, enmity, even within your social influence, your social circle. So it all comes down to what is the nature of your 6th house lord and in which dignity it is going to be present in the 11th house. But this could be seen as a very good alignment in order to become successful, famous, popular in the life by demonstrating strong fighting spirit and going through all sort of obstacles and facing all sort of criticism in the life. And lastly friends, if you will find your 6th house lord's placement in the 12th house, so as you know that this is also kind of making a Vipreet Raj Yoga, a kingly combination, where native is definitely going to rise, and native is going to gain from all sort of difficulties or obstacles in the life. Friends, again, this kind of alignment is going to give rise to lot of underhanded or secretive activities. Now this could work in the favor of the native, that native might take interest in getting into the fields of the secret services, being working in the far away foreign lands, being away from the melodrama of the life, living in the isolated places. Now this could be as a part of his nature of work, as a part of his skill. And friends, like with this kind of alignment, the positive side is that only if you are going to demonstrate strong integrity, strong values and virtues in the life. But let's say, for example, if natives' activities are going to be questionable, are going to be despicable, so trust me, this is the prime yoga of the imprisonment. Like all those people, because of their court cases, because of their entanglements and being on the wrong side of the law, they ended up going to the prisons. So it all comes down to in which dignity, in which condition your 6th house lord is going to be present in the 12th house, and how you are utilizing those energies. Because if I have shared with you the vulnerable aspect of this placement, so the good aspect of this placement is that this could give native success in the foreign land, and all those people who become the genius scientists, genius innovators, inventors, who create something completely out of the box, completely new, completely groundbreaking work in any given field. So that could also happen, that could also materialize with this kind of alignment, where your hard work is going to produce something which the world might not have seen before. So that is something, friends, which I wanted to say as a part of the my inputs on the importance and the features of the 6th house and its lord's placement in different houses of your astrological chart. So for further more updates and notifications on the divine science of astrology, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and like my Facebook page. Thank you.